This time I'd like to introduce John Donnelly from the Drug Enforcement Administration to talk about this case as well.
Thank you, Chief. Just a word or two. What I've learned in my time with D.E.A. is that drugs are both a local issue and they are an international issue, and that the only way you can effectively fight drug trafficking is to fight it on all levels. It has to be done both here on the street and it has to be done across the United States. DEA has offices throughout the United States, and we also have 80 offices in 60 countries around the world. With those contacts, our foreign officers work with foreign police officers and in some cases the military, and this is how we're able to pursue traffickers overseas. Recently, in an unrelated case, we've been able to extradite a foreign national to Fresno for prosecution, and in this case that's what we'll be seeking to do as well. Since I've been here, we've worked hand in hand with the Fresno Police Department in case after case. It's been a successful, good relationship, and that's what we'd like to continue. This case is an excellent case, but I'd say it is only indicative of what we've been doing all along. It's just one more brick in the wall, so to speak.
Thank you. Now, some of the cases that our major narcs do, or if they do them quietly behind the scenes, and we don't get to come out and talk about them publicly because we're following up on leads and trying to get to the supplier and the source and so forth. This case, we were allowed to come forth and talk about it, mainly because we were able to identify the source, and we're going to be able to take that individual off as well in Mexico. That won't stop all of the production. That won't stop all of the distribution of crystal meth into Fresno. But it will have a significant dent in it, and what we have seen over the years is, although there are still meth labs in the valley that are producing methamphetamine, much of that is now occurring in Mexico because of the pressure, the intense pressure that we've put on the labs in the valley. And so what we are seeing is it being manufactured in Mexico and then smuggled across the border into our cities. With that, I'll open up to any questions you may have.
How does this compare to past seizures? Is it one of the largest, or are you just proud of the fact that you got all these guys?
The biggest seizure that we've had on an officer purchasing narcotic hand in hand was 14 pounds, but we followed that up with the search warrant and ended up with 22 pounds of crystal meth. I think this is going to be up there with one of the largest single transactions that we've been seized.
In terms of the Fresno Police Department's involvement, being able to do a hand-to-hand purchase of 15 pounds of crystal meth is the largest one that we've had, because it is significant. And you consider it's not just 15 pounds of meth, it's 15 pounds of crystallized meth. And that is a very, very potent source of methamphetamine that can be broken down out on the streets and generate a lot more money. So this is something that is very significant in our valley.
Chief, there are a couple of figures here, $300,000 in meth or $450,000 in meth. Is that street value versus how much it's worth?
We were actually purchasing if we'd have purchased all 15 pounds, it would have been $262,500, I believe. That street value is well over $500,000 when it's broken down. Some people break it down even more than that, and what they say is a street value of well over $1 million. But conservatively, we think that street value is about $500,000. And when you talk about what that ends up being on the street, it's a significant amount of drugs.
I want to go back to the car, because when you were talking about the sophistication of this car, I mean, obviously these criminals modified it for the purpose of drug trafficking. Is that something you normally see, something like that?
We're seeing more and more of it, and we have over the years. The sophistication of how the panels are accessed has become increasingly more difficult to be able to, for us to be able to breach. And if not for having inside information, we would not be able to determine how to access those panels. You know, we utilize drug sniffing dogs all of the time to try to determine where drugs are. Sometimes they're able to effectively disguise the smell, sometimes they're not. But this is in terms of someone going to great length to be able to disguise the transportation of crystal meth. This was an elaborate setup, having to go through a sequence of events in order to access that panel. Obviously, they were well aware of the potential being stopped and the drug dogs being used. Any other questions? My only regret is I can't have the undercover officer up here because he is undercover, because I'd like to publicly pat him and his entire unit on the back, but they do an incredible job and take great risks. The undercover officers meeting with these drug traffickers, and so and they do a great job. So, thank you very much.